All right, welcome back to my channel, True Crime with a K. I'm your host, Tim Solberg, and I hope that you give me the next 10 minutes to bring you all the facts on this case and maybe some entertainment for your day. Today, we're going to focus on a case straight out of Canada, British Columbia, ski town, ski resort, and we are focused on Ryan Shtuka, okay? This is a person that went missing on February 17th around 2 a.m. in 2018, okay? So it's been just over 4 years, and he went missing without a trace. Now, some backstory on Ryan. Ryan was born and raised and grew up in Beaumont, Alberta, where he lived a pretty typical lifestyle with his parents. He actually went on a ski trip with his parents a few years prior to his disappearance and really fell in love with the area that he moved to, which is Sunny Peaks in British Columbia. Now, it took a lot of courage for Ryan or anyone to decide to move from their hometown, leave their friends and their family. Now, he did bring his best friend, but leave most everybody that he knew to go live out his dream. And he decided to go to work as a chairlift operator for the ski hill. Very, very cool. Now, unfortunately, like I stated, on February 17th, approximately 2 a.m., Ryan was last seen. Now, there's a couple of theories on this, and I'm going to present them to you. We don't know what happened from there. He just disappeared. He vanished without a trace and hasn't been seen since. So a couple of the theories, at least from investigators and or volunteers, was maybe Ryan decided to take the backcountry home. Now, when I say backcountry, it wasn't super far, but it is pretty dense area. It's got a little bit of forest, really deep snow, and some terrain that could be hard to, navigate through. Now, for a typical Canadian, especially one that works on a ski hill, might not be that hard at all, but there can be animals and things like that that are going to be in those areas, even so close to an urban area. Another theory that had come out was maybe, it was so late in the morning or early in the morning, I guess you would say, that maybe somebody had hit him on the road and decided to try to cover it up and took his body. Now, I will say that for both of these theories, and they're just that, they're theories, that there was no evidence pointing at either one of those. And we would think that if we take the backcountry story where he decided to take the shortcut home, and if there was an animal that greeted him, then we would see some sort of either remains, some sort of evidence like blood or clothing or whatever it was that animal was ripping up would have been left close to the scene. And that just wasn't part of evidence that came through. Kind of the same thing if he was hit on the street, right? You would see some sort of remnants from the house party that he left to the to the house that he was going to where his roommates lived, and they would have noticed something. Now, one key fact is his roommates didn't notice that he was missing until around 4 p.m. the next day. Now, that's not typically uncommon, as his roommates knew that he was out partying the night before and just thought, maybe he had went home with a female, or maybe he stayed on the couch of somebody's house. And when he didn't come home and he didn't check in for work, that's when they started getting worried, and that is when they decided that they were going to call the police. Now, there is some theories out there about the roommates. Maybe they know something more. Maybe they don't, just based off of them calling the cops before calling the parents. But I think, in a typical 19-year-old, especially in Canada, ski resort, living on your own for the first time, you really are probably not thinking that your friend went missing, and you're probably just taking precautions at that point, and you're probably not letting anything sink in, especially like shock, right? So I don't think that they had anything to do with it, but again, that's just my opinion, and those are some of the things that are being said on the internet. Internet can be a great place. But again, we do have to state some of the theories that are out there. Now, we do know that the investigators came in, and the family, specifically his mom, Heather, did a fantastic job of coordinating and even writing a book about the situation afterwards. And I will put that up on the screen right now. And they got the volunteers in there who, canvassed the areas and actually went back over the areas where the investigators went, and they couldn't find anything. So very interesting story. And To this day, again, just over 4 years, there is no signs of Ryan. Now, the police have come out a couple of times and said somebody knows something somewhere. Now, I don't know if that's the case or not, but that would lead me to believe that the police believe something else happened, that this wasn't an accident, that Ryan didn't wander off, that an animal didn't take him, that somehow, some way, Ryan had disappeared and somebody knows where he might be to this day. And that is just based off the press conference that the police have done and some of the information that they released. Now, it doesn't mean that they do know something. That's just what my opinion is. So I would encourage you to go read the facts on the case. There's a lot of information out there and there's a lot of theories. I hit a couple of them. There's a lot of theories out there, especially for small town Canada, of what may have happened and or who would have known what. I will say though, one thing growing up in a small northern town in British Columbia, Canada, once somebody knows something, everybody knows something. It's hard to keep a secret in these small towns. So that would lead me to believe that nobody in the town does know something, right? Just because that information would have gotten around. And it is very difficult to hold or keep a secret, right? If more than one person knows. So I kind of debunked that theory a little bit. I could be wrong for sure, but it is something that could be out there, right? Here's the last thing I'm going to leave you with. Again, I want to kind of state how courageous Ryan was, right? He left his friends, he left his family, he went to go live his dream. And, up until the point of his disappearance, it was working out for him. And it was something that many of us don't do. Many of us don't get up and we don't leave our hometowns and we don't leave our friends because it's scary. And he did have his best friend with him, or at least that's what's been stated, which is great. But as you can tell, his mom, Heather, is out there searching for him still to this day. They still go up to the ski resort to do searches and to kind of live in that moment of having Ryan around. And that's got to be very difficult for a parent, right? But that just shows how loving his family is and how loving his mom is. And when this all went down, his mom was recovering from a tendon, her Achilles heels, and she couldn't go out and search for him physically. How much pain and how hard would that have been for her? And then COVID hits right after that. And I think she did the best thing possible. She was able to put pen to paper and write a book about the situation. Again, it's the book that we already put up on the screen, but that just shows how courageous his mom is as well. And if we can do anything to get the information out there and really help Heather out and bring Ryan home, that would be fantastic. So on that note, I do appreciate you folks checking in with me. Again, if you like the story, if you like the facts that I'm bringing you, hit that subscribe button down below. If there's things we can do to improve the channel for you, the viewer, you are part of the community and we love having you here. Don't be afraid to put the comments down below. We are all about growth mindset and we are all about critical feedback as we will continue to bring the best quality content that we can. I'm still working on how I deliver that content and still working on my video editing skills, my audio, the whole works, but we try to get better with every video. That being said, I hope everybody has a wonderful week this week, and I am over and out.